So here we go. Paul, thanks for joining us today. Go ahead and take it away.
All right. Well, today we're going to talk about defense again. Now, defense is unquestionably the most difficult part of the game. And it's as far, it's always fun to play the hands. It's always fun to learn new bidding. Defense is just hard work. And it's kind of the neglected stepchild of the game. It is just so hard and so frustrating because you don't have as much information and you have to make a lot more inferences. So I'm going to just go through a few things that might help with that. The first one is something called HLLL. I don't know if you've heard of that, but it deals with when you have a sequence like Queen Jack 10, Jack 10 9, or even just Jack 10. In first seat, you play high, and in second, third, and fourth seat, you play low. Now, low from the sequence. Now, that is assuming that you're trying to win the trick. If partner has led and they play the ace in front of you, it no longer applies. So if you are on lead with Queen Jack 10, you'd lead the queen. If partner leads and you're trying to win the trick and you're holding Queen Jack 10, you play the 10. This would also not imply in the second situation here. If you were playing a no trump, you might lead fourth best with that holding. But if you are going to lead, you lead the jack, and if you're following suit, you would play the 10. Let's see how that helps you in a situation. Here, simple auction, 1 no trump, 3 no trump, and you're on lead and you lead the 2 of hearts. Dummy hits, and partner plays the 10, and declare wins the ace. So the first question is, who's got the jack? Do you have any idea from this? Well, you should.
Probably your partner.
Probably, because if South had the jack, he would have won it cheaply, right?
Right.
Instead of winning the ace. So you know that East has the jack and the 10. And then the next question is, who has the king? Can it be your partner?
Probably, because
Probably not, because if partner had the king, he would have played it.
He would have played it, right.
Right? He's going to play the highest card in case you have the ace. So declare must have the king. So you can tell where all of the honors are in a suit if partner plays the 10. Whoops. Now let's assume that instead you lead the 2 of hearts and partner plays the jack. Now you know who holds the 10 now, because if partner had Jack 10 and he had the 10, he would have played it.
Mm-hmm.
And he doesn't have the king, because if he had the king, he would have played it. So now you know that partner or the declarer has the ace, king, and the 10, and it's not advisable to lead the suit again when you get in. So that's some of the inferences you can draw if your partner is playing HLLL.
Mm-hmm.
Next, keeping parity with dummy. Has that phrase been used before? Have you heard
No.
that?
Mm-mm.
Yes, yes.
I haven't. I have, Mark.
Yes, you have.
Well,
That's like unusual to no trump.
not listening to Mark is no crime. So all that means is that if dummy has, say, a 4-card suit, you keep the same number of cards as dummy has.
To Susan, I might have worded it, you match the length and dummy, because I didn't want to use such a big word. So
I just saw Mark look up parity, so it wasn't a so at any rate, if you ever get rid of a heart in this situation, declare is going to be able to make that 2 good. So it's going to be a rare instance where you're going to pitch a heart.
Oh, I like that rule. That's good.
And also, I mean, you can apply it to declare too. If you know if declare's got a side suit of 4 cards, you would try to hold on to 4 cards there. Now, we've all learned that the next hint here is covering an honor with an honor. It's become almost automatic. It's something we should always do, but there are times when you should not do it. And I've seen this situation occur many times with good players. In fact, I've seen people in my household make this mistake, and I live alone. So you can get an idea who makes these mistakes.
Who possibly made that mistake? Boy.
So here's the situation. You are West and the Queen of Spades is led. The automatic response is to cover. But if we do that, excuse me, if we do that, we can see that all of Dummy's cards are going to be good. There is no percentage in covering in this situation. And there are situations where partner or the declare might go up with the ace, say he has a singleton queen. Or the other situation is if he has a doubleton, he will not be able to finesse 3 times, and he won't be able to take all the spades because eventually your king will set up. So when you see that in dummy, when you see that there's no way to advance a trick, you would not do it. Different situation if dummy did not have the 10, now you should cover because it protects against the situation where your partner has the 10. Now if you cover, the jack will take the second trick, but your 10 will set up as the third trick. So it's incumbent upon you to cover in that situation, but not when the tricks are solid. Another example, let's say they lead the Queen of Hearts from dummy, this time you're East, you should not cover. Once again, if declarer then wins the ace, the suit's always going to be good. You're protecting against the situation where declarer's only got 2. He can finesse once, it would work. The second time you play low again and he has to win your ace and your king will be good. So those are situations where, and there are other exceptions too, where you don't want to cover. But this is one that I've seen come up several times, and you should not be doing that.
I
Paul,
guess the common characteristic there was a little bit length, right? Remember how
I was going to ask if it was 4, if that was a.
Well, there was 5 in the dummy on the 1, and you know what I mean? So you could see a bunch of them.
Yeah.
Right. And the other thing we're going to talk about next is something that's very difficult and it takes a long time to develop, and that's counting. You should count your tricks. You got to count your high card points, and those are the opponents, count trump, and count distribution. For new players, it's a very difficult thing to develop an expertise at. And for not new players, it's the same, although over time, it gets easier. So just, you might want to start every time by making sure that you're counting the trump and you know what's going on there. Let me give you an example of how counting can help. In this case, we have, can everybody see the bidding diagram?
Yes.
Okay. So you have a no trump opener, and I like to treat bidding as a conversation. All right. So we have somebody opens a no trump and they say, I have 15 to 17 points in relatively balanced distribution. The 2 club bid asks the question, do you have a 4-card major? 2 hearts says I do. 2 no trump says, well, I don't, and I have 8 or 9 points and I'm inviting to game. And 4 spades says, well, you don't have 4 hearts, but you bid Stamen, so you have to have a reason for doing that. So I know you have 4 spades. I have 4 spades. And since you're inviting and I have extra values, I am going to bid game in spades. So now let's see if we can construct the declarer's hand. We know he's got 4-4 in the majors, right? He told us that. That's 8 cards. So that leaves what? 5 for the minors, right? And he doesn't have a singleton in the minors usually. So he's going to be at least 2-2. And we don't know where that 3rd minor card is. How many points does he have? 15 to 17. Does he have 15? No, he told us he's on the top of his bid. So he doesn't have 15 points. We, by just counting and understanding, know the declarer's cards distribution within 1 card and his points within 1 card. And we can be able to use that in during the play and the defense of the hand. There was a recent demonstration by ACBL players where they got together and there was they were all expressing the idea it's very important to count. And I got these pictures from the ACBL showing everybody demonstrating in favor of counting. So that's it. That's my suggestions for today. And if you have any questions, let's ask them.
The counting, is there any way to practice that other than to do it every hand, I guess?
Yeah, and I can sense your frustration here, and I don't blame you. You have to, I would start out small and like I say, work on figuring out the trump suit first. Another thing that you can do is when you lead against no trump, let's say they've opened a no trump and it goes 1 no trump, 3 no trump. Partner leads and dummy hits. You should automatically count the points in dummy. I add it to 16. I take the average for the declare, right? And then I add my points and I subtract that from 40, total number of points. And that's how many points within 1 that my partner has. You should be doing that on every hand. Same thing with 2 no trump. They're showing 20 to 21. Take the 20, add dummy, add your hand, and you will know the number of points that within 1 of what your partner has. That's a good start in counting.
Another one in counting is when they have, let's say they've opened and we end up with the contract, we can kind of figure out what that 4th hand's gonna have. You follow what I'm saying?
Yes.
So, you know, we can give them 12 or 13 to the one hand and we end up in game, for example. We can kind of figure out if that other hand even has a chance at having a king or an ace, you know what I mean? A lot of times, so.
Yep. Another situation would be if they open a minor and then over a major, they bid 1 no trump. Now it's 12 to 14 that they're holding. Instead of 15 to 17, we can go through the same arithmetic. We should be doing that every hand when there's a no trump type of hand shown. You can also use it if partner bids a spade or declare bids a diamond and rebids 2 diamonds. You probably got a good idea that they've got 5 or 6 and not a lot of points. So you can do the same kind of arithmetic in that situation when dummy hits.
For me, Janice, though, it was just quantity. You know what I mean? It was just working on it more, you know, just playing more often. Like I talk about, I try to do, you know, since BBO was introduced to me by my neighbor, I tried to play the free, the free tournament on there every day, you know, 8 hands a day. And I just try to count, you know, and it's way better now than it used to be. I mean,
then the great thing about that too, is you can take your time. There's nobody at the table.
Yes, Paul does anyway, whether it's
you.
people waiting for him or not, but
your fingers and pardon me.
That I never thought to do that because I have a tendency to rely on my instincts, which is not good. And then I start too fast and I don't, you know, I just don't count my tricks. I don't count my tricks very well, I don't think.
Well, that's
gosh, we had a whole class on it.
So Paul and Mark, you both recommend those free tournaments on BBO as a good practice.
Yep. Now BBO bidding systems are a little strange. So when the robots bid, make sure you hover over their bids to understand what their bids mean.
Okay.
And there's also, you could play the solitaire games, right?
Yep.
Those are free. And once again, you have to understand what the robots are doing because they play some fairly advanced conventions.
all right, we're going to wrap it up. Thanks again, Paul.
Thank you,
And
Paul.
Thanks.
I hope you enjoyed it.
We
We
did.
did.
It was very helpful.